Chapter 10. A decision between duty and destiny. The preparations for Khandirao's cremation started. The letters were sent to everyone regarding Khandirao's demise. Ahilyadevi looked extremely calm that day. She took a bath and wore a green sari, green bangles, pearl chains, and red kumkum on her forehead. She was all set to commit sati. It was an old ritual that a wife should die along with her dead husband. Ahilyadevi was Khandirao's first wife, so, according to society's rules, she was supposed to perform sati. Along with her, Khandirao's two other wives were also going to perform the ritual. Not just them, but his two Muslim mistresses were willing to do the same. Ahilyadevi was sitting next to Khandirao's dead body with his head on her lap when Malhar Rao rushed in. Crying, he implored her not to perform sati. Startled by this request, Ahilyadevi looked at him. She told him, being Khandirao's first wife, it was her duty to go with him. Baiji was right there and understood the gravity of this situation. She decided to support her husband, and she too came and sat in front of Ahilyadevi. They told her that the future of the Holkar empire was in her hands. Their only son, the legal heir of Holkars, is gone, and now everything relies on her. Ahilyadevi kept refusing this request. Finally, Malhar Rao promised her that from now onwards he would think that Ahilya was dead and his Khandirao was alive, that he would treat her just like his son and he would consider her as his legal heir. He further told her that 9 other women were willing to go with him, but there was no one except for her to take care of anything. And so she should stay back, not just for him, but for the people of this kingdom. Ahilyadevi was in a dilemma. She had to choose between her duty as a wife and her duty towards her people. In front of her was a most respectful father-in-law who always treated her like his own child, who nurtured her into what she was and never asked anything in return. That day, for the first time, she could see the helplessness in that person's eyes. He and her mother-in-law were crying for her to stay back, instead of crying for their son who had just died. That was the decisive moment which would have changed history. Ahilyadevi thought about everything thoroughly and decided to respect Malhar Rao and Baiji's request. She could not refuse them. She thought about them, her people, her kids, and decided to stay back. When Ahilyadevi decided to stay back, she knew that society would not accept it very easily. They would continue to torment her with their prejudices. But she decided to stay strong. She decided to devote her entire life to her in-laws and for the betterment of the people of her kingdom. The last rites of Khandirao were performed at Kumbhar. His 2 wives and 9 mistresses performed sati with him. Silently, Ahilyadevi kept seeing the fire. She wasn't part of it, but she could feel the fire burning away that old Ahilya, who had entered the Holkar palace as Khandirao's wife. From that moment onwards, she was only Subedar's daughter-in-law.